I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, you all have a copy of the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
I'd like to add one thing, discussion about some trees on Sherman Street that were brought to my attention.
H trees. Is there anything else? You all got a cop? What?
Was the lighting thing added in?
That's in my report.
Oh, it's in your report. Okay.
Okay, you all got a copy of the stuff that Chris copied that was in earlier emails? Okay, so with that, is there anything for the public comment period that's not already on the agenda for the evening? Well, Marlene, been a while.
Yes, it has. And I noticed that the White House and the Danielson House haven't progressed very far, and they were supposed to be done with their stuff by December 31st, I thought. What's going on?
We have decided to wait until the June meeting, because then the deadline, the people that had the May 31st deadline, we will also know what their status is, which we can kind of guess.
Yeah.
And then we can ask the city attorney to take that all to the county court at one time, instead of having him do it
Because
twice.
to me, a one-sided, roof on that White House, that's all he's done in the 2 months that I've been home. That's ridiculous. He's had 2 years, and we've been after him for 2 years. And it's just, the city has got to do something. It's coming back to your table, and it's got to, that's such a, everybody drives by it to go to the school functions and whatnot.
Also, because I saw that they had sheeting on, that was just the one side though that they
Yeah,
did
just the
sheeting
one.
on?
Yeah.
Plywood up
Yeah.
on it.
And otherwise, he has done nothing.
And I know Daniels, they did the little porch
Yeah.
roof.
Most of them have not met the requirements, and so,
Right.
like I said, we're just waiting so we can have the city attorney take it all to the county at one time.
I think there's 3 haven't, 3 haven't maybe. Something like that.
So that'll be on the June agenda.
Be here.
Is there anything else, Marlene?
I just, it isn't on here, you are getting new benches, or you have new benches? The city has,
We ordered them.
you ordered them?
Yep.
Okay, you haven't, they aren't here yet.
No.
I talked to the Community Pride group, and they will try to get that out to people if they want to put a plaque
A
on.
memorial, good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Both Margaret and I talked about it, so.
Good.
So we ordered 5 of them right now,
We
didn't
ordered
we?
5, right.
Now, do you know
Right
where
now.
they're going?
All on the main,
Oh,
I shouldn't say that, post office, library,
Roxy's.
Roxy's,
Market.
grocery store. And then I believe there's one in front of the Schultz building, isn't there, presently? Yeah, so it'll be all those, and then the one on the post office, for now.
okay. Sounds good. That's all here.
But we
Thanks,
do-
Marlene.
We do have a flyer on being able to donate towards the benches, so get that out to people soon.
Anybody else have anything else for the public comment? Okay, so first order of business is the OHV project update. You all got in a separate handout where it's at. Chris will cover some of it. Basically, we're still at step 0, where we've been for a while. The contract is in this, where we've been for a while. Last weekend, you maybe saw some people, Jeff O'Brien and a friend of his were over at the base of the Hauge property, and they're putting up some fencing, because there's still people that are driving up there into that area, even though we put the signs up, the guys put signs up to tell people not to drive up there. People were still driving up there, so they put some fencing along there. And when Jeff went there, he touched base with Steve Erickson, so Steve knew what was, going over there and stuff, and Steve was very pleased with the fencing that was going in, too, because he's been, seeing people go up in there, so they, so any adjoining property owners knew what was going on, so they didn't just go and start doing stuff. So they did all the labor for that, and then the materials for that will be, they paid for, and they'll be reimbursed through the grant aid project. So didn't cost us anything, but now we've got some fencing there to keep people from going up into an area that's a little bit delicate and shouldn't be ridden on with the machinery. Chris, do you want to go through the Trails Unlimited piece and what that's all about?
Yes, I can. The DNR and the clubs have been working with Trails Unlimited, which is a section of the U.S. Forest Service, and it's a program that helps people with their projects, designing, planning, building, and maintaining. They offer training up front, which helps everyone look at the feasibility of their project, and they're known as the experts across the country. So the DNR has got an agreement with them that they would come and do the training and start us off looking at the design of the project. And they are able to come in late August, and their fee would be covered under the grants that the DNR has for the project. And so it's just a matter of the city holding the contract with Trails Unlimited, scheduling them to come in and do the training. The first training is planning and design, and they haven't really scheduled the other trainings yet until we get through that to decide, how things look. So I guess for that topic, we would have you consider that agreement that they submitted.
We actually got really lucky with this one. Normally, the DNR doesn't authorize Trails Unlimited on a project. It's not normal for them to do that. But between the DNR staff that are working with our project and Karen Umfris, Novak, they basically lobbied the DNR people that administer the grants to allow this, since our project is unique. They're a very prestigious group, Trails Unlimited. They're actually through the U.S. Forest Service, so it's not just a fly-by-night, organization coming in and and looking at our project. So it like Chris said, it's an expensive group to get in, but the grants will pay for it, and that's why we had to get the DNR approval of the grant administration program to authorize it, because we want to use those funds. But it's actually huge for our project to get experts of that caliber coming in to help do trails. These guys are the experts. They're the ones that, like I say, they are the U.S. Forest Service. They're not going to come in and willy-nilly throw some trails down because it looks like a good idea. They're going to actually, they're the guys that know what they're doing. It's kind of a big deal.
It is a big deal. I think they just had a project in Hawaii, and they've been all over, so.
And because if you look at the sheet that she's got, they're coming in from all over the United States to do our project. So it's not just like somebody coming out of the Minneapolis area. There are 4 of them or 5 of them, or which sheet I read that on, that are coming
That's
in.
probably in the contract.
And they're coming from like California, Utah, Missouri. So they're coming in from all over to, I don't know which day I read that in, to work on our specific project. So it's actually pretty exciting. This is the step now where we might actually be able to move past step 0. Right? Matt, do you have anything to add? You've heard all the conversations on it. Do you have anything to add?
No, not really. Pretty much covered it, but.
So right now, we have the contract to authorize, that's what you have in there, right?
Yes.
Contract to authorize hiring Trails Unlimited to.
Yeah.
Yes,
Do you
Ellen?
mind if I ask a question
Sure.
about this?
Sure.
Would you remind me, please, what phase, is there still a possibility that you can get out of it? Or
There's always a possibility that we could stop the project. There's always that possibility.
is there a likelihood once they're here, would it be less likely that we would?
Not necessarily. If this group of Trails Unlimited came in and they went up on that hillside, and if they went up on that hillside and said, there's the potential of you putting in 10 feet of trail, which is, kind of silly sounding. But if they came in and said that it absolutely positively is not feasible to be able to go up there and do that, then obviously we're not going to do it. But that's why we need to bring in somebody like Trails Unlimited to find out if this really truly is a feasible project. And that's the only way to really know, is by bringing in the experts.
And will they see the evaluations that were presented by like Valerie Green and other forestry people?
These guys, I believe, will come in and do their own assessments, won't they?
Advisability of doing it.
Well, I'm pretty sure the DNR already gave them a lot of the project information, but we can be sure they get that.
Okay.
And the other thing with that, Ellen, is we get to choose, we have 6 spots, we get to choose first who gets to sit on this first training session. And Chris is more of a stickler than you are about making sure that this is done right, because Chris is an engineer by trade. So Chris is very, very thorough, that's the word I'm looking for. That's the word I'm looking for, to make sure this is done right. So she wants to have a rep from Soil and Water go to one of those first training sessions. She knows a contractor out of La Crosse that she wants involved with that. We were talking earlier about a local individual that's very familiar with that hillside that we would like to serve on the advisory committee when that's formed, and we want that individual to sit on this committee. I'm not gonna name the individual because they've not been asked yet. So we're gonna make sure all the right people are on.
Might you have an opponent to the project so that they can ask questions, just to make sure? you
This
know
is a
that
training
they're-
session. This isn't, when they come in, it's training. It's strictly training. It's not public hearings, it's strictly training. There's still more public hearings down the road.
Yeah.
That's why I say we're still at step 0. There's still more public hearings down the road. Once the trails are, somebody has to lay them out. And then once the trail design is laid out, before they actually can make a trail, they have to have another public hearing. So there's still opportunity for that. Right?
Yes, and I'll point out, the first training is the planning and design to really look at the feasibility. And then the next training, there's a break of, a month or something. So at that time, like the mayor said, if we find out it's not feasible, this contract, even with Trails Unlimited, can be canceled. So there's a break between each of the training modules. The first one's planning and design, and that's the main one that we're scheduling right now.
So this is the only way for us to really know if it's feasible, is by bringing in experts to see. 'Cause that's what we got. You got to, and being that the DNR, the grant and aid program, will pay for it, that's just frosting on the cake.
Do you have any idea what their record is as far as saying this is not feasible at this spot?
Well, they're through the U.S. Forest Service, so I guess we're trusting that their reputation.
Yeah.
They truly are the best.
They're the best of
experts
the
running
best.
it. It's better than hiring just a private consultant. It's better than, the DNR has even admitted that they can provide more on this than the DNR could, so.
It's actually very exciting that they want to look at our project because of who they are. So it's kind of a big deal that they want to do our project because, like I said, because of who they are, that they're looking at this project. Because it's not, like I say, it's not just the DNR, it's not just the local contractor. I mean, these people are from the federal government that are going to come in and look at our project, which makes, that gives the project some clout. I mean, don't you think? But if they, so they're the experts. If they say it isn't feasible, it's not feasible. If they say it is feasible, then we also have to trust that direction too, that it is feasible, because they know more than any one of us in this room about what can or cannot be done. We all know what we'd like done or not like done, but we have to bring in somebody that's an expert to actually tell us what truly can and cannot be done. Anybody else want to add anything or ask any questions?
I think you said it all. That was the only question I had was, are they gonna advise us? Yep. They're gonna advise us first. If it doesn't work out, and we say it doesn't work out with them, then we go from there.
So you need a motion to approve the contract?
Yes.
Make a motion that we approve the contract with Trails Unlimited.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So then, Chris, you want me to sign that tomorrow then, and then we'll, all right. is it-
Yeah, right after the meeting, I can get you a few copies that need to be signed.
And then, once you do that, then you can contact that other individual and see if they're interested.
Okay.
And, you know, the other people that you have suggested to be on there. And then see if that other individual that we had talked about earlier is interested, and if they're interested, then you can, you know, let everybody know who the people are that we're gonna be sending.
And then we have the grant too, further down the list. On the update, there's a new grant application that will, even though there's already money approved by the DNR to pay for the Trails Unlimited, they requested that we submit another grant application which is specific to education. And if that's awarded, which most likely it would be, then that would free up some of the other money that's already assigned to the project for other
Oh, so we
things.
wouldn't have to use some of the other monies that are set aside
Right, because
for,
this one is special for
Oh.
education projects.
so this is a $70,000 one, which almost covers the cost.
Right. So I would just need your approval in order to submit
Apply
this
for that grant.
application.
Who's the grant through? I'm sorry.
The DNR.
Oh, is it this one?
That's
This
Yeah,
one here?
Yep,
yeah.
that's that one.
And
I was looking at
it's,
the sheet.
a lot of these applications to the DNR grant and aid program are very similar, and so they even all look the same. It's just which number,
Which
grant
program
numbers
they're
on,
pulling it
which
out of.
program and which grant, which project number is assigned to it. So they all look similar, but every time there's a new application, I need to get the council's approval.
So I'm gonna make a motion to approve Chris applying for the recreational trail program grant.
Make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
And then
You wanna
there's,
hit the appraisal one, or you want me to do that?
yes. As I wrote in the update, it's likely that an appraisal will be needed for an access easement to the city land because if it's a private easement, we need to have it appraised in order for the DNR to reimburse those funds. So there's a few options that have been discussed. The exact route has not been decided, but in interest of time, we'd like to be able to get the appraiser on board as soon as possible, as soon as we would come up with an option for an access.
And since we are talking with private landowners right now, and it's in the negotiation type talks, we cannot discuss. I know people want to know where the access points are, but we are dealing with private property owners, and in the interest of protecting their privacy, and since it is ongoing negotiations, we aren't going to disclose right now where we're looking at. And I know that's probably not fair, but we have to protect the interests of private landowners. But Chris just needs an approval to get an appraisal for the areas that we're looking at, and that also is covered by grant and aid. So it's something, once we pay for it, then we'll submit the expenses to the grant and aid project and get reimbursed again. But I can say we are not looking at going through private neighbors. Areas we are looking at do not go through private neighborhoods, through the city. of Houston.
Residential areas.
The residential areas, they do not go through residential areas.
I'll make a motion for Chris to go ahead and get that appraisal.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Does anybody have any other questions on the project? Like I said, that's about all we really know up to this point in time, but.
And the training is scheduled for the last week in August, just so everybody knows that we probably won't have any more updates until then.
This shows a timeline like of 2020, I think it said, like the last thing. So is that when we'd actually kind of be looking at this being completed? That's the maintenance phase, basically? So
Actually,
is that kind of when it would be?
I think all of their contracts, they just set up for a 5-year, that they, if it's not canceled or something doesn't happen prior to that, it times out after 5 years.
Okay.
I think
2020 sounds so far away,
Yeah,
because she
I
says
know.
5 years.
I
Yeah,
just-
I know.
I just saw that
And those
2020
five
there
will
as
go in a
the,
hurry.
I mean, that still we're probably still looking at 2 years, 3 years before a trail would actually get on the ground.
These, once it gets that once it gets to that part, they made it sound like it would.
I'm thinking minimum 2 years.
The speed would pick up
Speed
quite a
up,
bit.
but what have we been doing this, what do we figure, 8 years we've been doing this now, or where are we at, how many years have we had? Oh, yeah.
Long time.
Yeah, because we really haven't had much in the last 6 months or so. I mean,
Yeah, I
we
think
hasn't really
it's-
been much of an update.
It's been over 5 years that we've been working on
It's 6 to
it.
7, because I came back in '06.
Yeah, so it's,
The first meetings we had, I was on council, so.
so I guess that's speeding it up if we're looking at a couple of years.
Well, the thing is once you get to that point, when you actually see progress, I mean, like, you see movement is what's gonna be a big, you know.
Eventually,
make it
it's at the
seem-
jumping point.
Right now, you don't, it's
But
just
even-
paperwork.
You know, even though there's not, our whole goal is to strengthen our economy. That's bottom line. The whole reason behind any of this is to strengthen our economy. And even with just this alone, having the Trails Unlimited, we have 5 people coming in from all over the United States that have to stay someplace, they have to eat someplace. We've got people with that are gonna come for this training
From the DNR.
from the
And the
DNR
clubs.
and from the clubs. They have to stay someplace, they have to eat someplace. So we're still infusing money into our economy even before we do anything.
Right.
So it's, and you know, over the past years, we've had a lot of people come down, and even like this last weekend, we had people come down and they were in town and they were eating and whatnot, so.
Came to the pancake breakfast.
Hmm?
Came to the pancake breakfast.
And they came to the pancake breakfast. Yes, they did. Forgot about that. Yes, they did. Okay, any more on that? Okay, Chris, B?
So along those same lines of economy and tourism and fun stuff, we are finding a direction for the nature center. And I think it's great that Carla has the Owl Center and she's advertising a lot for that, and it's getting a lot of people visiting Houston. And I think it's a great time to make sure we have a plan for the nature center and keep that rolling instead of letting it sit kind of idle. And Connie Verse has done a wonderful job already planning all the programming and doing everything for the summer that I think is way more than I even figured would need to happen over there. So there's a lot that goes into it, and for her just working part-time, she's taken on a lot, so thank you, Connie. And to move things forward and help her out, we have a few things on the agenda. One is the website for the Nature Center. Right now, we just have someone volunteering to do the website. And in order to get it in a platform that we can have our own staff update it as we need to, which I think now with websites, you know, a lot of people update themselves and keep them fresh. I did talk to the Friends of the Nature Center, and they are willing to pay for the update of the website. So that's the good news, but it will be a city contract, so I just need the city council approval. It would be with Vision Design Group out of Winona, and this is their proposal in here and what they would do. It does allow for quite a bit of time in helping figure out a new logo and talking with us about some of the goals for the Nature Center and where we want to go with it. So I think that's going to be a good exercise to go through, and thanks to the Friends of the Nature Center for agreeing to pay for it.
So this will be an entirely different website.
Yes.
I was just thinking, like, my mind was just going, we were talking about logo and stuff, if we shouldn't just have an all-encompassing city logo that kind of covered everything, because everybody's really always hated the city logo as it is right now, that with the bicycle guy that looks like he's going on a tightrope.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know if maybe whatever they have for a logo for the Nature Center could maybe be an
Right.
all-encompassing logo.
Yep, I thought of that, and I think when we meet with
If
them.
we're talking about branding, you
Yep.
know, let's brand the whole shebang.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't, depending on how long that process takes, I don't know if the fee they quoted just for that part of it will cover it.
Oh.
But it certainly could get us talking about it and decide if that's what we want to do, then I could always come back and say, okay, it sounds like that's the direction we should go. It's gonna take them more time, or we figured it out, something came to the group and it's gonna be perfect, you know, so we'll just have to.
I mean, because they can still do the website and such now, but I just know people have hated the current logo for a very long time, and it's a very old logo. And maybe if we're gonna do a logo, instead of just doing a logo for the Nature Center, maybe just we need an all-encompassing new city logo you know, and then we're talking about costs, of course, for sign, you know, because we'd have to redo entry signs and whatnot, but it might be something to look at
Right.
if we're doing it and if we're trying to rebrand ourselves and whatnot.
And maybe could put the word out there too, maybe somebody would design something and, you know.
And there might be
you know,
grants out there too, like for the
That's what I was
signs and
thinking,
stuff. There
yes.
might be like, legacy money or something maybe for the signage.
Right, there's, yeah, I think there's a lot of options.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And-
So it's kind of exciting, really.
Well, and it's exciting to hire somebody that will help in that process, because I just can't direct all of that process. So it'll be nice that they'll be there. We will need people, a variety of people, to come to some meetings with this group to give their input. And, you know, we can get things out on the website, on the city website or Facebook to keep people involved so that everybody can give input, of course. But we can't have 30 people at the table, we'd never get anywhere. So I think, I know Connie Verse and I will be there for sure. Audrey Elfson representing the Friends of the Houston Nature Center. And then I'm sure 2 or 3 more would work out if anyone in council wants to be on board, or let me know
Somebody
later.
from EDA maybe should be.
Yeah, you
Tony?
can get me info on that, yeah.
Okay.
You guys maybe from EDA be
We're hoping to get that started and get the website, they thought it would take 4 to 5 weeks, so we're kind of missing the very beginning of the summer, but things take time,
So
so.
basically, in a nutshell, the Friends is paying for the website revamp.
Right.
But you
So-
just need our approval for them.
To contract
do it.
with the company, and then the Friends would donate that amount to the city.
Well, I think it'd be kind of silly not to accept
Mm-hmm.
their generosity. Somebody like to make that motion?
Make that a motion that we accept their proposal for the website.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So then through the course of that, Chris, you'll talk to them about the Phase 2 logo possibilities and whatnot?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure that'll come up through the course of the regular conversations, but,
right,
I mean, there's actually some, I think, some exciting possibilities with that.
right.
Okay, Chris, the Nature Center budget?
Yeah, so as part of, well, the website, I guess the Friends are paying for, but the next couple items are talking about staff for the Nature Center. And with the change in staff already that's happened this year, I thought it was good to give you an updated budget. And so if you look at the spreadsheet that's in your packet, it shows, first column's the original budget for this year, year-to-date, what's been spent. And the estimate of what's remaining is actually calculated with, or what's remaining from that original budget, I should say. And then the projected year-end takes into account the changes that have happened. So, you know, we no longer have Carla, Connie versus wages in there. Other expenses have changed a little bit. A lot of the expenses have gone down. There's not as much traveling. There wouldn't be as many supplies and licenses and certain things that Carla needed for a lot of her operations. We're also losing quite a bit of revenue too that Carla had brought in from her programs and stuff. So in a nutshell, when you look at that projected year end, we are still going to be a little bit short for 2015, which we had been in the last few years. And so,
But not as short as we've had.
no, not
Nearly.
nearly as short. It's really coming back, and actually, we've been real careful on that revenue. I think we could get more in that revenue side, especially if we get some grants to help pay for some marketing and things. And then if you look at the preliminary 2016 budget, it shows that we're doing much better. And we can cover all the
Turn it around
expenses.
next year.
And that includes factoring in $5,000 for 1 or 2 intern or part-time staff to help man the hours over at the Nature Center, and also help with the city marketing and some of those things we talked about, so.
You need a motion to approve the changes in the budget?
I think the revised 2015 budget, which would be that projected year-end column. So yes, that would be nice. And I'll have Larry change that.
Somebody like to make a motion to accept or approve the revised 2015 Nature Center budget? Is there a
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so the marketing part-time nature center position.
We advertised for this part-time or intern person that we wanted to help with city marketing and also help fill in some shifts and help Connie over at the nature center. We received 2 very qualified individuals applied, and sort of different backgrounds. One is a student in marketing at Viterbo, and the other actually has many years of working for wildlife facilities, and she currently works at the Minnesota Zoo. So I think that it would be very beneficial for the city to have both of them. And the marketing intern obviously can help a lot with this website, help me with some of the things on the city end, so I have time to work on some of these other projects. And then the Diana, who would help Connie at the Nature Center, has already offered to help set up some exhibits and programming and work weekend shifts, because I think it's a lot to expect Connie to work every single weekend for the whole year.
She might have more resources available to her
Yes.
too because of her contacts through the
Yes.
Minnesota Zoo.
She
That's
does
very
a lot.
exciting.
Yes, very.
Connie's like,
Yes.
yay, that's very exciting.
And I have-
But see, you have to be just totally pumped over that.
And they're down here, they're in this area Thursday through Sunday.
I was like, I don't know
Yes.
who that
They
is.
li- They
That's
own,
nice.
they live down here.
Where do they live at?
Well, they bought
Um,
property down here, but
Yeah, I mean, so they live down here for,
And I think
I
the
probably
long,
would know.
he's originally from Spring Grove.
I said I'd
so
probably
they're-
know her if I
they're
saw
familiar
her,
with
but-
the area and stuff. so-
and I
Ah,
think
that's
the
very
long-term
exciting.
plan is
Try to think of where
to
they live by.
retire down here.
it's on their way to Hoka, towards Hoka.
But I think both of them will be a really,
Wayne
really,
Fitting out there.
really,
that
really
road
Wayne
goes
Fitting,
back
that road.
there.
both of them
Okay.
will be a really, really good fit.
Yes, I think
Really good.
it's
I
really
mean,
gonna
and
kick off all of
Taylor's
this.
a really good girl. I mean, she's a very
Yes.
smart girl and
And that money would
Lot
be
of
split
energy
between the
and-
two of them.
Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that 5,000 was,
It's 5,000 would be the total for
Split
for
between the
both
two.
those positions. And then we
I
can
think
reassess it.
we'll get more than
next
our
year.
money back out of
I
that.
think
just
so.
in,
From both of them, yes.
mhm. That's
Yeah.
very exciting,
Yes.
very exciting.
And neither are requiring any big pay.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I think
minimum
one's
wage
using
is
it-
sufficient, so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
a big plus with the experience that we're,
Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the recommendation of the Personnel Committee of hiring Taylor Lashinsky for the marketing position and Diana, I'm not gonna pronounce it, for the other position?
I'll make that,
Not even gonna try it, not even gonna try it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. That's very exciting.
Mhm.
Very exciting. And the seasonal maintenance staff, we, at the last meeting, we had approved a hire, but that individual is not able to accept the position, so the Personnel Committee is recommending Dick Gauster to be the second worker. Do I understand that correctly? Is there a
Yes.
motion to approve the Personnel Committee's recommendation of Dick Gauster to be the second seasonal worker?
I'll make that motion.
A second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Opposed, motion carries.
Can
And
I-
then she's got the job descriptions, I'm sorry.
Oh, yep,
I'm
you're-
just on a roll.
Oh, that's- I was gonna make